Welcome back to Getting Started with Libby from the Harnett County Public Library. This video will cover how to get started with browsing and searching the e-ink digital library with Libby. Now I've just opened the Libby app on my device, and before we start browsing for items, I'd like to point out these three buttons at the bottom of my screen. These are the three main navigation options in Libby. The first button says Library. This will take us to the e-ink library, and this is where we will browse for and check out our ebooks. There is also a button on the other side of the screen that says Shelf. This allows you to access all of the items that are on your bookshelves, including your current loans and the items that you have on hold. There is also a big round button in the middle. This button gives you quick access to the last item that you were reading or listening to in Libby. So to get started looking for items in e-ink, I'm going to navigate to that Library button in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. This is the e-ink Digital Library homepage. The e-ink Digital Library is our primary resource for downloading and reading ebooks. There are several different ways to browse for books in the e-ink library. Your first option is to simply browse the homepage by scrolling down through the screen. For example, here's a collection of gardening books. It's springtime as I'm recording this video, so you can see that e-ink has created a collection to help users get started with their spring gardens. We can also see items that have been recently added to the collection, and a selection of mystery titles. These collections on the home page change out periodically, so it's a really great way to browse for something new or different. So that's one way to browse Libby. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of my screen and show you another way to browse the collection, and that's by selecting the Explore button up here on the right. This allows you to browse the collection by several different popular categories. The first two options up here at the top allow you to browse and search the collection for items that are appropriate for kids or teens. Selecting either of these options will take you to a special curated page that only includes items for the age group you selected. Browsing the kids page, for example, will limit the collection down to just items that are labeled as juvenile fiction or juvenile nonfiction. And likewise, the teen page will limit the collection to just items that are labeled young adult fiction or young adult nonfiction. You can also browse by two of our most popular genres, romance and mystery. Selecting either of these options will limit the collection down to just items that match that genre. You can also browse by titles that have been recently added to the collection. You can also browse by what's popular, and you can also browse by subject by selecting this link. This allows you to browse the collection by all kinds of subjects and genres, including science fiction, fantasy, historical fiction, cooking and food, and much, much more. I'm going to select the back button in the upper left-hand corner to return to the e-ink library homepage. So those were just a few ways to browse for items in Libby. But if you already have some idea of what you're looking for, you can also search for items. Before I show you how to search, I'd like to point out this section on the left-hand side that says Preferences. If you select Preferences, the screen will expand out to show you various ways you can narrow down your browsing and searching experience in Libby. You can limit the collection by format, either by eBooks or audiobooks. You can also limit by language, including Spanish, German, Chinese, and French. You can also limit the collection by audience, and by device compatibility and item availability. You can also change the order in which your search and browsing results are displayed. Select Apply Settings to apply these preferences everywhere in Libby. The Preferences button will now update to show how many preferences you currently have applied. To remove preferences, all you have to do is select the Preferences button again and change each preference back to the default option. Now I'm finally ready to do a search. You can access the search bar by selecting the section in the top left-hand corner that has a magnifying glass and says Search for a Book. From here, you can type in your search terms. Libby is able to search by title, author, series, or keyword. For this search, I'm going to do a search for items by author Ann Patchett. Once you've typed in your search terms, you can either select Submit on your device or press the Enter key on your keyboard. Libby is now going to show me everything in the e-ink collection by Ann Patchett. Up here at the top, it tells me that there are 7 ebooks and 2 audiobooks in my search results. You can tell the difference between ebooks and audiobooks by looking down at the search results. Audiobooks are indicated by an audiobook icon, and ebooks simply show the cover of the book. You can refine your results by clicking the Refine button on the right-hand side of the screen. This allows you to narrow your search results down based on the same factors that we saw in our preference options. So that's an overview of how to browse and search the e-ink digital library. Thanks for watching Getting Started with Libby. Stay tuned for more instructional videos from the Harnett County Public Library.